back to the Empowerment Podcast.
We want to talk today about competition, as it is such a non-voiced area in everything about success and achievement. And I don't know how it was for you, Xander, but I was highly educated in school. Like my success was dependent on the failure of others. Like I always looked like where the rest is, and then I could feel where I am, how good I could be, or how bad I am when I looked at the rest. So
Yeah, I remember very well that when I was working at a sales company, we always had this ranking in the office. And
yes.
whenever I would see myself being above certain other individuals, I would feel a lot better.
And the point is that you may feel better, but this is or me, but this is not real empowerment. As the when it means somebody else needs to fail until we've reached our goal, then it's maybe not anymore the game we can play in this world. I have the feeling. I mean, in the time we are living.
I agree. And maybe it's not even feeling better, but it's just an ego boost in the moment.
Right.
And also I've noticed it's not a very successful strategy because there with the coming into of social media, there's people that are so good at what they do, and there's people that are way further ahead on the path. And then maybe for my experience, it was a good result that I got. But then if I compare it to someone on the other side of the world, it's nothing. So then I feel bad again.
Yeah. So
And that's not empowering.
no, this comparing game is social, it's usual, and it's not working anymore. As there's always somebody. I mean, even if you reach your goal by, I don't know, being better than the rest, like you said, then you find somebody who's even better than you, and then you feel bad again.
Yeah.
So reaching something what is not dependent from the outside is real achievement, and it is real empowerment because you don't make it dependent on anything. And when we look at the world, that's what we talked about, Xander and me. I mean, the whole world is set up about let's be better than the rest. Like, look at whole nations, political parties, economic companies, like the whole economic market. I am wondering how long it will work. I mean, it is not working anymore as we all hit our limits, that we kind of need to work together to reach a common goal. And this is surviving on this planet, or I don't know, giving a future generation a planet back where they can still live on. And that's a quite interesting time.
It is. And it's very collective, and I can also feel it's personal because in a way I think I have been indoctrinated with believing that in order to work together, I need to give in a way. Or maybe that's how I've pretended to work together, that I was giving in my own viewpoint. Not maybe that's also one of the keys to real cooperation, is that there are loads more viewpoints possible, and that we don't strive for only one right viewpoint, and if you have it, you are the best.
I mean, the whole area of industrialization started with cooperation. So people understood if they start to cooperate with each other, they both have more. But it was still from the viewpoint, and it brought us somewhere with advantages and disadvantages, I have the feeling. And we still do that sometimes in life. I mean, we do cooperations with people to both have something, but this is like contracting. Like, I give you money, you give me this, and so you both have a better outcome. But there might be next development step about, like, where it's not anymore so much about our egos and us.
Yeah. And I wonder then, yeah, if we um, come from the viewpoint of really, if what if we took the viewpoint that I work together with everyone,
Hmm.
um, and with focus on my goal.
Yeah.
I mean, that would definitely create less conflicts, I think. And maybe that's also one of the ways why competition may not be so durable or so effective. Because, well, I know in my life, when I have a conflict situation with my partner or with a colleague, that takes up a lot of attention, and attention that I could have used in a lot better ways. So maybe if I just start my work with, I work together with everyone, um, different, I may have different conversations.
I wonder, I mean, we are playing this game already for many hundred years, that it's also creates kind of motivation to being against something. It connects people to be against certain things. It creates a whole structure, a whole group. But as we look at the planet, we may this is something what is it's up. It feels like we don't have time anymore for it. I mean, we brought a quote from Harry we wanted to share with you, which also has to do with competition and empowerment, and that is make friends and make friends conserve natural resources.
Yeah, and it comes from the fact or the viewpoint that if two groups who are in conflict consume up to 100 times the amount of resources if the two groups were friends. Now,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's always 100 or 20 or 1,000, but I recognize that if you share, there can be enough for everyone. And I
yeah.
wonder if that's the fear sometimes that we encounter. There's not enough for everyone, or I don't have enough anymore. So I'm not going to share. I'm not going to take that risk.
And maybe we also can learn to have more focus for what we want instead of what we don't want, and find
Mm.
like allies also who thinks in the same direction like us, because as we are so different on this planet right now, and kind of we think there's so much separation going on and people have very different viewpoints, and it seems to get more worse these days, that the separation gets bigger. But one thing what connects us all is most of all is like, what is with this planet going on? I mean, how can we do something? And I think for that, it's not anymore personal, but to overcome competition or personal goals for a bigger goal to save us all is an interesting time where we are in. We played a long time this competition thing, and maybe it's time for a different game.
And I wonder if in that game we start working together more, we make more friends.
Mm.
That the goal of saving the planet or directing the planet to a more durable or sustainable um, outcome is a lot more doable. It feels to me a lot more doable than when I'm in my own ego competition. I want to save the world because, yes, I do have that thought sometimes. That, but from a viewpoint of working together, suddenly that may actually that may be a path of opportunity.
I so love this viewpoint with making friends. I mean, we always talk about like saving stuff and doing less, and then we look again, and it's again a competition to look like, but this guy just booked a flight to Mallorca. Have you seen that? Or they still have a SUV and they're driving with it. So we do the competition in another area, which is also lead to nowhere because it's a personal responsibility and a decision what you do and what you don't do. But what you can always do is make friends. I mean, that's something what would overcome all this comparing against in the next area.
Yeah. I mean, I have a very practical example going, like, for example, going to winter sports, which I actually realize is quite damaging to the environment. Maybe I'm a little late to the party, but what I can say about it is that I realize that because of having good friends and going there together, we went with one car and it took a little flexibility to fit all of us in there. But we wanted to because we were friends and we wanted to share that. And I wonder in how many areas of my life I am not in that viewpoint and I keep things for myself when I could just as easily or even willingly share that, and it would feel a lot better.
I can share the example. I'm a vegetarian, and I can easily go in this righteousness game about that I judge people who do certain things. But the thing is that I'm always alone eating, you know. I started to learn. I mean, I have also a lot of vegans and vegetarians around me, but I start to learn not to make a thing out of it anymore and just enjoy people's company, and it solved it itself. In my surrounding, many people started to look at it, but not anymore with me judging them, but by like introspecting that for themselves instead of me being the judge there. And I think that's a way better approach, because people need to make their own decisions. Like trying to hide because you feel like the other person will not like it, or do it only to fit in, or so. These are not high motivations for change. It's never something what lasts. And you should become a vegetarian only want to impress other people. It will not last. It needs to be an inner decision. And if you don't have that, just enjoy it. It's something what I realized. And for that, I mean, who are me? I mean, in the end, I'm also doing, like you said, we all have some things where we are better in stepping back than others. And I think everyone, and then the good thing would be if we keep talking about it instead of making rules how it should be.
Yeah, because I realize while you're talking that real friends want the best for one another. And you want to share that from your heart, and if you share that from your heart, it's easier to receive also another viewpoint, because you know your friend has the best intention, and then you can explore, well, what is a better outcome, or what is that's, and then you can come to maybe a more sustainable solution. But just because you are real with one another and you want the best for each other, and then your friend may give you a viewpoint that you hadn't thought about, and you're like, oh, never looked at it that way, and suddenly you feel more empowered and expanded and are not so limited anymore.
And it would save a lot of resources, as we don't have to fight anymore against each other. We need less space to live in. We can share devices, machines, cars, public transport. We could stop by weapons. I mean, there could be a lot be different, and maybe we are a little naive in that, but maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, if I know for myself that if I would have that, if I would go about my work with more of a friendship viewpoint, that I'm certain I'm gonna practice that to that it would give me also not so much attention drain because I'm constantly fighting and trying to be the best. And I know I have gone on a holiday also going far away. I went to Poland and we drove like 4,000 kilometers. And I loved the experience, but I also needed the time off. And I'm not saying that it's not good to take time off, but maybe I don't have, I could make another decision if I did not feel so drained because I was fighting all the time.
What is a good sign for not being empowered if we feel drained? So
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
exhausted, feeling drained is all a sign for that we may reach what we wanted, but we didn't create empowerment on it. And that's what we are talking about in this podcast. So it might be interesting. So we covered a lot of ground here, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And if you have any viewpoints on how you experience competition and what you, how you experience making friends in the workplace or in your life, and what it does for you and your feeling of empowerment, we would really be interested in to learn about that.
exactly. So reach out to us and we are happy to connect with you. See you in the
Bye
next
bye.
episode. Bye
See
bye.
you.